Hello everyone and welcome to another Forever Biz Team Sizzle. Today is the 9th of June, Friday. Welcome everyone. Topics for today are recognitions. Then we're going to continue the topic of working with Who Do You Know list. And we're going to go over the show. How do we show the business to others and what do we say? And then we'll go into questions and answers. It's going to be your time to talk, and then we'll discuss upcoming events. Okay, so recognitions. Welcome new team members in the last 2 weeks. Marcos Ramos in Wisconsin. Welcome, Marcos. Very glad to have you here. Congratulations to Elena May. She has her first few customers. Congratulations. Congratulations to Tatiana Neville. She's continuously expanding her new customers. She's constantly searching for new people and retailing to them. So awesome, awesome accomplishment, girls. Congratulations. Okay, Forever Business Cycle. We're going to talk a little bit about it again. I just want to make sure that it's so imprinted in your head that you can tell me the business cycle when I wake you up in the middle of the night. So the Forever Business Building Cycle is at the core of our business, and at the core of the business cycle is your reason why. If you don't have that reason, forgive me, but you're probably not going to have a successful business. So you better figure it out why you're doing this. Set your goals. Make sure that you're focused on your goals and you really know why you're doing this, because this is the business that changes lives completely. This is the business that makes people financially independent. If you just continue doing this just a few minutes or hours a week and you consistently do that, you will be amazed by the results. So the very first quadrant at the top is the Who Do You Know list. We talked about this in our previous presentation, and then hopefully you already have your Who Do You Know list, and you know how to maintain it, and you know how to add people to it, because this is your working list. Any business in the world thrives on their customer base. If you don't know who your customer base is, you will never be successful. So this is the core of your business as your Who Do You Know list. So who can be part of the list is family, friends, work colleagues, relatives, everyone. But it's not necessarily that we're trying to convert anybody and everybody in the list. We're just giving them information. So the next quadrant in this cycle is, giving information to people. It's contacting people, which we went over in one of our previous webinars. We do this via either phone call, email, text message, or face-to-face, however you manage to do that. So you contact the person, and then you schedule a little get-together, or you maybe just do it over the phone or on Skype or face-to-face. However you do this, you show them the business. So you do either a one-on-one short meeting with a person. You send them a DVD or a link to the online short video. Either you send them a website or you invite them to a product launch. Either one of those would work just fine. So today we're going to go specifically about the show. How do we show? Because last time we talked about how to make phone calls. So the next quadrant you see here is a business presentation. So basically, the business that we're in is a business of selection. And it's not business of conversion or convincing or pressuring people into it. It's a business of selection. So you basically are creating this funnel that you put in the people through, and the ones that come out of the other end are the people who are ready for the business. So by contacting them, by inviting them, by showing them, by sharing information with them, you basically selecting and finding the ones that are really interested in doing the business. So let's say you contacted a person on your list, and you called them, you invited them for coffee, you went for coffee, you showed them a few details about the business, just kind of in general. Person is ecstatic and they really like the idea. The next step is you invite them to the business presentation. So this business presentation is not to confuse with the show, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in the further slides, but the business presentation is a more detailed view of the business. So then the last quadrant, here's the action. So that's when the person actually had registered after the business presentation. They're still interested, they registered, and then you start planning their business. You start defining their goals, planning their business, and going through the training. Your goal as a sponsor is to, as quickly as possible, to bring this new distributor to the independent set of activities and actions. So that typically is accomplished within 90 days. That's why it's very, very important, the first 90 days and the activities that go into those first 90 days. So the speed of is of the essence as you put people through this business cycle. Why this is because your business will grow in direct proportion to the speed at which you implement this business cycle. And the recruiting is essential in our business because, and we talked about this in previous slides, you may be able to accomplish maybe $1,000 to $1,200 a month in, let's say, just retailing, but you will never be able to accomplish $10, $20, $30, $50,000 a month income if you do not recruit, if you do not duplicate. So the speed is of the essence. It's very, very important. To achieve your goals is vital over the first 12 months to create momentum by sharing this opportunity with as many people as possible. This will create the energy, excitement, and success you desire. And here down the bottom, you see that the part-timers, like myself, obviously too, is 2 to 5 contacts per day. So, and then full-timers are 10 plus contacts per day. These are just contacts, so not to confuse this with show, and not to confuse this with business presentation, and not to confuse this with registration. It's just the contact. So it's important to know each one of these steps. Okay, so today's topic is how do we show exactly? So, and I wanted to start with saying that the art of to speak about the art of the storytelling. This is the very, very, very important part of our business. Facts tell, stories sell. So obviously you will have to end up having 2 stories, or maybe even more than 2. At least 1 business story and at least 1 product story. Obviously, we've talked before that you cannot be an expert in every single product the company manufactures and distributes, but you can pick maybe 5 to 10 products that really interest you and that you would like to really become an expert in, and focus your story on those products, because you're going to be more successful if you use those products and you become really proficient at those products. So think about which products you'd like to select to become proficient at, and then start learning about them, products, and then using them. The business story also is super important, because the very first 90 days we're going to help you create 20 to 30 customers and start actually making money. So we also will focus on getting some additional team members into your team. So for that, you would need to have a business story, because what really lights people up are the stories. And so you have to become and you have to learn the art of storytelling. So the good words for the business story to use is exciting, inspiring, open-minded, great possibilities, fantastic. So first it's fantastic company, amazing product, astonishing, dynamic company, impressive track record, security, visionary, And maybe then you can see that I can already see, and whatever you want to insert in there. So poor words, not to use words, is could, might, think, hopefully, one day, sponsor, possibly. Nobody knows who sponsor is, so don't even mention that. You can say mentor or something, but don't say sponsor. Or business coach, you can say business coach, but don't say sponsor. So you know, you might, poor sentences would look like, would sound like, well, I joined this little business, little home business that I'm hoping to retire from my job, but maybe in 3 years, and I think this is a really good decision, and one day I think I'll be successful. So this is really bad. It sends bad vibes. So so think of the stories and write them down, and then run it through somebody. If you don't want to run it through your upline, run it through somebody who's a really good friend of yours, who maybe is more successful than you, a person who might have a business, and just say, hey, can you please look at my business story and just give me an idea of what to correct. But technically you have your upline, you have your immediate sponsor, you have a sponsor, so you can go up and have other people review your business story and your product story, and then correct you. So why do people listen? I think it's very, very important as you prepare and you become an artist at the storytelling. You got to realize why people listen. You got to really understand why they do that. And especially with different commercials that you see out there and different ads, you know very well that a human brain in about 2 to 3 seconds makes a decision whether it's interesting or not. So the very 2 to 3 seconds are extremely crucial in your storytelling. So you need to create a vested interest in your story for your listener. So typically, there's some kind of a background that you're telling, a little bit of a background of the story. So you really need to design the background of that to capture your audience, or to capture your opponent, or person who you're talking to, and you give them a little bit of a background of your life, etc. So the storytelling needs to be very emotional. So why does it need to be emotional? Because emotions create a connection with the listener. So if there is an emotional connection between you and the listener, I can guarantee you almost 100% outcome that A, the person will listen, B, the person will be interested in what you're telling them. So how do you do that? Step by step, very easy. You explain your external struggle. Again, it needs to be emotional. So for instance, you may say, so, one day I was driving to work, the whole day went that incredibly bad, and I was in traffic, everything was just going so bad, and then all of a sudden, a friend of mine called, and he started telling me about this incredible company, incredible business, and I realized that there is a I can't go on like this. I can't live my life like this anymore. I can't struggle. I can't go to work and work 60-hour weeks, etc., etc. So then you kind of go into explaining where you were trying to get to with this. So for instance, you all of a sudden go into it like a dreaming phase. You say that I couldn't take this anymore. I knew that there's got to be another way. And when my friend called, I realized through talking to him that there is a better way, that there is a way where you paint a picture where, I can quit my job in 3 years, that I can become financially independent. I don't need to put up with the crazy boss at work and traffic and 60-hour work weeks. And I joined. So for instance, this is kind of a lame story, but then you explain your internal struggle You explain your journey to achievement. What exactly did you, how did you go to, how did you start, what happened? You know, this particular method can be applied to any story, not necessarily business, but also to, let's say, weight loss. So for instance, you can say that, you know, one day I was so tired, I was so sick, I was sick constantly, I couldn't take any more, not spending quality time with my children. I looked at myself in the mirror once and I just thought, hell with it. You know, I want my children to see me when I'm 60 or 70. So, and I said, hell with it, and I'm done with it. And I made a decision. And then you go into the internal struggle and how actually this was difficult for you. And then you just describe your journey to the transformation, what exactly happened. And during this conversation, during this story, you have to become vulnerable. If you are not vulnerable, if you're all proud and sound like a professor, sound like you're selling something, nobody's going to listen to you. So you have to become vulnerable. You have to become emotional. Emotional connection will lead to the listener listening to you and following what you're telling them. So let's revisit also, why do people buy? Whether they're, you know, or maybe we shouldn't say the word buy. Why do people follow? Obviously, people buy or follow you due to the emotions. And people buy things due to emotional decision. It's never a logical decision. They first make an emotional decision, and then they justify their actions and decisions with logic. So how do people, let's say, buy jeans? You know, you might not need jeans. You have, you know, 50 jeans in your wardrobe, but then all of a sudden you see a really beautiful pair of jeans and a commercial about this jeans. And so guess what? You feel how you imagine how you're going to feel wearing these jeans. So your emotions get involved here before you pull out your wallet and start, you know, paying for the jeans that you probably don't need. In fact, what do people need anyway? They probably need a warm place to sleep, some food to eat, and some basic clothing. But we all have more than we need, obviously, because we make emotional decisions all the time. So in order to get people to buy and to get their emotions involved, you need to basically find the problem that, you know, see how your product or your business can solve their problem or to avoid their pain. So you have to get emotional involvement, and you have to really know the problem that you're solving or the pain that the person is having. So then, or another way is, you know, two big emotions drive the actions. It's, you know, solving a problem or getting something that they want or feeling good. So it's always feeling better or feeling good about themselves or feeling better emotionally, psychologically, you know, I don't know, mentally. So you need to find out the feelings first, and then evoke those feelings to get a person to really connect with you. So people will do more to avoid pain than they will do to gain pleasure, just so you know. So whether people join your team or they buy your product, one of those emotions get involved, feeling better or solving a problem. So that is the key. So now I want to go into kind of detailing between the showing and business presentation. We looked at the business cycle in the beginning of presentation, and we saw that the showing is in one quadrant, and then it's followed by the business presentation. So the showing is a quick peek into the house of forever. So it is not a presentation by any means. It is more of an intriguing story. So it is about making a person dream about what they might want, kind of a thing. So a business presentation, however, is more of details on earnings, the company, etc., etc., etc. So the showing or the quick peek can take as little as 8 to 10 minutes. So you don't want to burden the prospect with case credits. You don't want to burden the prospect with different levels or naming assistant supervisor, assistant manager, blah, 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 blah. It's just, you're going to lose them. You cannot mention any details, any earning details, any position details in that speech, in the showing. So, and another thing I was going to say, if you're using any kind of handouts, let's say you're out for coffee with a person and you're showing them the business opportunity, it better be very simple handouts. If you put a catalog in front of a person, you're going to lose the person. So you have to speak very generically, in generic terms, and you have to paint the future, because that is what sells, that is what works. So in the business presentation, however, we give a lot more details, and the business presentation is approximately 30 minutes plus. Sometimes it can go to an hour, you know, but it's more detailed with more earning structure, and typically, you know, the people who do come to the business presentation are the people who are interested in some sort of a business. So in the showing, it's a selection method. You don't want to overwhelm a person. So what do you say when you show? So here's a typical thing that I say. So first of all, your compelling story. So that's what you start with. So whether I'm meeting with somebody who's a cold prospect whom I have never seen, I always start with a little bit of a warm-up conversation about them, about me, about how long they've been in the United States, or, you know, if they're actually local, how long they have lived here, what is their background, where they work, etc., just to warm up the conversation. Maybe crack a joke or two. And then before you go into the company, you have to give them your compelling story. So that will get your prospect to listen to you. So whether it's a product story or your business story, but you need to create an emotional connection. So you need to become vulnerable and tell them about how you felt before you started and what happened after you started. If nothing has happened, please don't be discouraged, because you can talk about your upline. You can talk about your upline or upline's upline, how successful they were. But, or if you don't have any outcomes yet with, let's say, product use, tell other people's stories. It doesn't have to be yours. But the key point is, A, to practice, and B, to really get this down to having the prospect, because this is an art and a skill. So having the prospect to become interested in what you're saying is a big check mark for you to have aced your story of art, or art of storytelling. So you first, you know, obviously going back in the business cycle, you know, it's contacting the people, then making the phone calls, then, you know, prospecting the people, eventually storytelling is right here. So, and then there's several other skills you're going to master in, you know, in your journey of becoming network marketing professional. But the important part is that you know, you gotta have an emotional connection. So the enthusiasm and the emotions that you're projecting will go a long way, because if you don't project any emotions, most likely, if you know, you'll find that a person is not going to be interested. So, and if you are experiencing currently failures with this process, you really need to get back to your upline and discuss and listen to your upline how the storytelling is happening, how the show is happening. So a few words, I say a few words about the industry and the company. So for instance, you may say a little bit about the company a little bit and say, so I work under an umbrella of this amazing global direct marketing company called Forever Living, and it's operating in 160 countries. The company revenue is approaching $3 billion a year, and the company has been around for nearly 40 years. The company owns 85% of all aloe plantations around the world, and all the plantations that we own are organic, no pesticides, no herbicides are used, and the company owns a stabilization method to stabilize aloe without pasteurizing it. So it's not pasteurized, it's not from concentrate. What you see over the counter is completely crap. It's pasteurized or from concentrate or God knows where it is. Our aloe is the most pure. It actually spoils in 4 days outside of the refrigerator. That speaks for itself. It's the most potent. So the aloe that we manufacture, grow, manufacture, and produce into drinks contains only live aloe pulp without leaf. It's filtered and stabilized. So we produce and manufacture, produce, and distribute world-class products that are marketed and consumed in 160 countries, with Japan, Germany, and India as leading consumers. So then you go a little bit into the product and you say, well, aloe is a very high potency nutritional drink that contains over 200 nutrients. Aloe is the strongest natural detox agent, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and antifungal remedy, and it increases absorption by 3.7 times according to research. It is a prebiotic, serving as a natural habitat for probiotics, which are good bacteria in our gut, thus increasing absorption of nutrients that we eat. Aloe reduces inflammation and it literally repairs the digestive tract. So it also is an immune system modulator, meaning that it fine-tunes the immune system, whether it is overactive, which is autoimmune diseases, or underactive. It has helped so many people, not only with restoring their digestive tract, but also giving them more energy and support of vital body functions. Then I say a few words about the training and support. I say that the company has a step-by-step system of success. So state-of-the-art online training designed in small digestible chunks allows our new distributors to quickly and conveniently become oriented in the business. The business opportunity is totally remarkable. We don't have any minimums, free to join, free training and sponsorship program, free personal website. Company handles everything from growing, manufacturing, to shipping and handling, returns, refunds, website design and maintenance, trainings, and payroll. So you get coached every step of the way. No one can pass you up and you can never get demoted. Each qualification and discount stays with you forever, and no requalifications are required every month. No membership fees, no forced auto ships. You can quit anytime or take a break, and you come back right into where you were, to the same team and the same qualification. And another thing to say is maybe that the discount stays with you forever. You never get revoked that discount. So bottom line is that the reason why I'm saying all this is because people just don't know. People don't know what it means to be a distributor. What you know is not what other people know. So it's important to say, because there are a lot of questions about, how am I supposed to, am I supposed to ship the products? Am I supposed to, order them and then start shipping them off to other customers? Or, are there any maintenance fees for the website? Because other companies, frankly, they have all kinds of things. First of all, It's never free to join. In order to become any kind of distributor in other companies, you have to pay sometimes up to $1,200. So you also get monthly fees or sometimes annual membership fees. You get website fees. You also have to pay for marketing materials, which, you know, obviously for us, we also have to pay for marketing materials, but we also have electronic things that other companies might not have. So we do not have to handle returns, refunds, you know, trainings and payroll. We don't do that. So it's important to note all these things because a lot of the times people ask questions, specific questions in that. So forced auto ship is a very, very significant identifying positive aspect. In other companies, you sign for a forced auto ship. So for instance, let's say you are selling, I don't know, essential oils. So these essential oils in large quantities will be arriving to your house and you wouldn't know what to do with them. So pretty soon, people fill up their garages with a bunch of boxes of, you know, essential oils, soaps, and, you know, conditioners and shampoos, and they don't know what to do with it because in order for you to stay with the company, you have to be part of that auto ship. In that company, it's important to note that you buy whatever products you need and your customers need. You do not need to buy anything that you don't want to buy. So, and even if you don't buy, nothing happens. They don't kick you out in 3, 5, 4, 6 months and 3, 5, 10 years. You stay with the company forever. So then you kind of go through additional incentives that, you know, we do have 2 streams of income. First stream of income is a commission, which is absolutely not essential. You don't have to focus on retailing. You can focus just on business building. It's going to be harder, and it might take months, sometimes years, to finally get paid. But it's optional. Retailing is not mandatory. Second thing is, you know, the second stream of income is a team bonus. So commission is coming from retailing. Team bonus is coming from generating a team. So what happens is you keep rising from level to level in the hierarchy of the company, the bigger team you build, and the more you make by helping others, because you are helping others. By helping others, you help yourself. So after a certain level, I say, additional incentives open up to you. They don't need to know the level. They don't need to know what you need to, how you need to get to that level, because you don't want to give too much information. So those additional incentives are, you know, we have two free trips per year. You may also mention that the company owns 250 resorts around the globe that are also a huge asset and stability factor of the company. So we also get to qualify for a car bonus. We have 3 levels of car bonus. Level 1, which is $400 a month for 3 years. Level 2, $600 a month for 3 years. And level 3, $800 a month for 3 years. It's also important to mention that the company does not give you the car. They just give you money. Why? Is because people are wondering, well, I already have a car. I don't need another car. I don't need a headache to sell that car. And then I also don't want the Cadillac that you give me. I don't want the, you know, whatever. So it's important to mention that you can qualify for car bonus every year because the company just pays the money to you. You can just take the money and invest it. So the third and the most important, the most distinguishing aspect for incentives is profit sharing program. That is our chairman's bonus, and that is paid once a year. And it's important to say that other companies might have annual bonus, but it's not tied to the profits. In our company, our annual bonus increases year to year because it's tied to the profits of the company. The company takes 3% of all the profits and divides it amongst most successful and qualified distributors. If anybody asks you, well, you probably need to be like 20 years in the company to qualify for that. You say that, no, you don't. The funny thing is you don't. It all depends on how quickly you build a team and you spread the knowledge about the business, because it's approximately 300,000 per year, I believe, to actually get qualified for the chairman's bonus. So it's not that much, believe me. So what do you say when you show? The next thing that I say is I basically, after I've basically told everything about the company, the training, the industry, the business, what I just covered in the last 2 slides, I ask a question. I say that, is this something that of interest to you? That's all I do, is I ask a question. And then I also ask, are there any questions that I might answer, and I answer the questions. The person might say, yeah, this is very interesting. I really would like to, you know, learn a little bit more about it and study it a little bit more. This is totally normal, because this is a process, and we've talked before in previous sessions that sometimes it takes 4 to 8 exposures. We call this exposures. So all the different contacts with that prospect, for the prospect to finally make a decision and register. So it's 4 to 8 exposures. It's not instant. Nobody jumps into something like this and it says, yeah, I love it, love it, love it, I'm going to register right now. So it never happens. It's like maybe 0.1 of 1% or something. So you answer questions, and then you might also want to ask, if a person says, yes, I'm interested, it's very interesting, you say, on a scale from 0 to 10, what is your interest level, with 0 being the least and 10 being the most? And the person might say, well, I'm like 7 right now. And you may ask, so what can I do? How can I help you get to 10? Or what can I help you with? What questions can I answer? And you answer questions. At the end of the conversation, if you haven't asked the person for their email address, you ask them for an email address, and you send them afterwards, you send them a follow-up email with having just a few key pieces of information. It may be your 10-minute or 5 to 10-minute video. It may be company website for sure, because they want to check out how the website looks like, what the products are. A lot of people say, well, this sounds really, really good. I'm really interested, but I need to learn more about it. And I also would like to try the product. So right here is your key, your little clue to the fact that they want to try the product. So you really need to send them your website. You really need to recommend them the information. And so also important thing is at the very end of the conversation to schedule a follow-up appointment with this person. So you say, Mary, this was really great talking to you. I really do enjoy, you know, the stories that you tell me and everything. So I am going to forward to you this information to the email address that you provided. But what I would like to also do is, how soon do you think you can review the information? And you get Mary's confirmation on how soon she can review the information, and you right there schedule another exposure or another appointment. So you say, Mary, how about this? You know, I know you work full time, I know you have kids, and you might not. So Mary says, oh, I'm sure that by next Friday I'll probably have reviewed it. Okay, Mary, that sounds good. So can we, let's say if I call you Saturday morning, you will have reviewed it for sure. Yeah. Saturday morning a good time for us to talk, and so I can answer additional questions you may have. She may say, yeah. And you know what? She may cancel the appointment next Saturday, or she may say, oh, something had come up, or oh, my child got sick, or something doesn't work out. That's fine. But you just keep going until you reschedule that appointment and until you answer all the questions. It could happen, however, that people disappear, and that is totally fine. That's not a good candidate for you anyway. I would recommend that after you know, contacting people only 2 times after this, because if you can't get a hold of a person after 2 times, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You don't look like a profitable business anymore, and you look like a beggar. You look like a desperate person that's trying to, please, please, please answer my phone call. So these are kind of the tips to remember, is to only follow up twice. If person doesn't respond twice, we'll go over in the future of what do you exactly say when you call if a person hasn't responded to your voice message or to your call twice. Obviously, you need to decline them the opportunity, but how? We're going to go over in the future webinars. But anyways, please don't follow up every day, and please don't try to bother people excessively. That's because you're diminishing the value of your business and the value of the industry. So as we've said earlier, the follow-up is the key here. So typical follow-up time is within 2 to 3 business days. So of course you call at the time that you said you would call. If something doesn't work out, please call or text that person and say, sorry, Mary, I have a family emergency, something had come up. Is this okay if we reschedule? Can we do, instead of Saturday morning, can we do Tuesday evening, please? Or when are you available next week? So the longer you leave it, the more likely your prospect will lose interest. It's very, very important. People remember about 20% out of the conversation that they've been through. So the longer time elapses, the less they will remember. So also, know your objective when you call back. Obviously, you've showed a person a little bit of information. You've shared some information with them. So when you call back, of course, you go through the motions. You ask them what did they like the most. If there are any questions that they would like you to answer. The key here is if you've given them something to see already and they've seen it, they've reviewed the information, you've answered all the questions, the next logical step is to either invite them to a business presentation if they're not ready for registration, or they may say, that they would like to try a product. Then I would not wait for them to register. I would actually walk them through right there and then. Hey, do you have 5 minutes? Because I'm going to show you how to register. Right now, I'm going to walk you through, unless they are not at their computer. But even if they're not at their computer, you can quickly send them in a text your URL, your link to your website, and register them. It takes less than 2 minutes to get them registered. That's one thing. Second thing is you got to send them the instructions on how to get into the system, because it's not self-intuitive. Because once they register, they become, a forever business owner. So they need to know how to get into the system. We've had cases where people ordered retail and then they called you and they said, well, how come I don't see the discount? Because, nobody told them how to get into the system after they registered. So, and if the person is not ready to try or to register or to begin the business, then you continue through the business cycle. You invite them to the business presentation. You get, or the product demo, or, whatever else. So, anyways. So we're going into almost the end of our presentation, and I wanted to reemphasize again, how serious are you? Part-time, 2 contacts per day. Semi-part-time is 5 contacts per day, 3 business and 2 product. That's what's going to get you propelled forward. Full-time is 10 contacts per day, 7 business and 2 product. Again, remember from the previous presentations or webinars, it's not giving a person information, it's contacts. Contact means you're just chatting through Facebook or other social media with a person. You just found the person, you're complimenting them on their dress, or you're complimenting them on the cute pictures, or you're doing something, because that's the very first step in selection, is the person going forward to you approaching them. If there is a person that doesn't, obviously it happens that people are busy. They don't, they go through a life crisis or something. They don't even check their messages. This happens, but Typically, if a person doesn't respond, that's probably not a good candidate. If a person responds but doesn't want to talk to you, that's another selection step. It's probably not a good candidate. There's something wrong with that person. They probably think bad of the world. They probably think that everybody's going to cheat them and, you know, try to sell them something or try to, you know, whatever, you know. So that's probably not a good candidate. So in our business, you can really do it online or offline, but you cannot do it without a phone. That's a very important thing. You cannot do this business without a phone because you need to create an emotional connection with the candidate. You cannot be successful until you do this. A lot of people say, oh, you know, I just want everything electronic. Well, still, if you don't converse, you will never be successful. So, and then what we recommend you do is 2 new contacts per day, which means you can do it through the social media, just, you know, chatting in the chat. Take 15-20 minutes. You're in bed. Get your phone out. Check some of the news groups and look at the different comments. Check people's profiles and see who you like. That's just as simple as that. And if you like a person or if you like their comment, comment back. You know, comment, respond, and you know, converse with the person. So, and then follow up with 2 contacts per day. That's not very hard to do. So, you know, 2 new contacts, meaning you're putting them through this whole pipeline of from, you know, the time you contacted them to the time they joined the business. And then 2 follow-up contacts. Those are the people that you have already provided information to, or information of product or business. So you have to call them. Please do not text. Unless they are a solid customer, I wouldn't recommend texting them. Or unless they absolutely don't respond or you don't have a phone number, then I would text. You know, it's kind of similar to leaving a voice message. I wanted to say that Facebook Messenger is pretty much like a phone line. So you can leave a message. You can call anybody who has Messenger installed on their phone, and you'll see that right there. If you know, you can add them on Messenger. They accept your contact request, and then now that you can converse with them. And you don't need to even ask for the phone number nowadays. But what's most importantly is I found out that I don't even need to ask for a phone number because people get scared sharing their phone numbers. They think, ooh, now I'm going to have a bunch of telephone solicitors calling me. So don't even push it. You can still converse through Messenger. You can still converse through Skype. You can do so many different things. So, and if you have a team already, then 1 or 2 posts into the team group. That would be really nice. You know, if you can do it every day, that's great. If you can't, then try to do it at least 2 or 3 a week, just for educational purposes. So, upcoming events. June 17th, Saturday, Forever Beauty event at Lana's house. We're, you know, committed to doing at least 1 a month now. You know, some people do 2 a month. We definitely do recommend about 2 events a month, whether you do it at your house or at somebody else's house. Obviously, you have your questionnaires, party questionnaires, so you know who is inclined to products, who is inclined to healthy living, and who has birthday parties coming up, because that could be a treat, your treat for their birthday party. They host a party. It's like a birthday, celebrate things, and then you come there with a facial. You pamper people. Everybody's having fun, laughing, and, you know, trying new products. And your host gets a percentage of her order, or maybe she gets a little free gift, whatever. So trying new products, learning about cutting edge, or maybe edge, anti-aging solutions during these parties. This doesn't, you know, parties don't have to be beauty events. It could be anything. It could be health and wellness, could be baby, could be, you know, natural products, skincare, you name it. So, and then happy upcoming Father's Day, June 18th, Sunday. Remember, our excellent products could be excellent gifts to fathers. So contact your friends, PM them, call them, remind them of Father's Day, and interview them about their husbands and fathers' health, and offer our amazing energy and health and skin products. So that could also be a great thing. So you could just say that, oh, Judy, I haven't talked to you in ages. I so apologize. But you know what? Happy upcoming Father's Day. And you know why I'm calling you is because I totally spaced off telling you that I started a wonderful business in the health and wellness industry. And I have huge amount of really nice, inexpensive Father Day gifts. So it ranges from, you know, after shave, before shave, and perfumes and energy supplements. If your father's, you know, health is declining, can you imagine giving him a gift of health? So I sometimes even post on my customer group as in, you know, give yourself or give your loved ones a gift of health, a little picture, you know, and then describe our wonderful products. And then, you know, you call them up. If people like your post, make sure you contact them back, because that is already an emotional connection when people like your post. So obviously, as a distributor, you need to know every event that's going on around you, just so that even if it's not, let's say, you know, of your religion, but please know those events, because you can contact people who do celebrate those holidays and offer them something. So upcoming event dates for global trainings is June 11th. New York Success Express in New York. Please check out at Forever Living America and america.eventbrite.com. June 24th, Miami Success Express. It's in Spanish, unfortunately, Miami, Florida. But please check Forever and America Eventbrite.com. Also, please go under events in your portal, in your Forever Living portal. So next, Team Sizzle, and I forgot to update this page. I apologize. We're moving along the business cycle, so we're going to go through announcements and recognitions again. We'll work with the Who Do You Know list further, so we'll revisit again the business cycle, and we'll talk about, forget the show because this is today, we will revisit the next step in the process, which is business presentation. So we will also go through a questions and answers, and we'll go over the upcoming events. So now it's your time to talk. Do you need any help with customer acquisition, with your monthly orders towards your 4 CCs, generating repeat customers, following up, staying focused, recruiting? On your control panel, you might have a little hand that you might want to press so that we can unmute you.